Hi students, welcome back to our biology classes. Yes, this is Divya Kanimilli and I am going to teach you biology classes. Yes students, in the previous class itself we had glanced about the introduction regarding the reproduction in plants, right? So we learned what do you mean by reproduction and what are the ways in which the plants are being used for the process of reproduction, right? So now in this class let us learn about the modes of reproduction in plants. So when we see the modes of reproduction in plants, there are mainly two methods in which the plants reproduce. Those are asexual reproduction and the next one is the sexual reproduction. So Pehli had a doubt that do all plants reproduce by seeds itself? But she never saw the seeds of sugarcane. Then how come a sugarcane plant will be produced? Right? So to understand that, let us learn what are the different methods of asexual reproduction that are present. In asexual reproduction, what happens? The plants will give rise to new plants without seeds. Such a method of reproduction we call as asexual reproduction, where the asexual reproduction includes many types. Okay, there are different methods of asexual reproduction where the first method is vegetative propagation. Then the second method is budding, fragmentation, and the fourth method is the spore formation. So these are the different methods of asexual reproduction where we can generally see in the organisms. Okay, let us learn with the first method, that is vegetative propagation. Okay, so in this method of reproduction what happens, a new plants are produced from the roots, stem, leaves and buds of the plant. As you know that these all plant parts are the vegetative parts. Hence, this mode of reproduction we call as vegetative propagation. Propagation means what here? Multiplication. Okay, so we are going to increase the number of plants by using the vegetative parts of the plant, right? So because of this, we call this method as a vegetative propagation, where we are going to use the vegetative parts of a plant for the multiplication of the plants. So there are different plants in which the vegetative propagation is being done. To understand the vegetative propagation, let us do a small activity. To do this activity, we need to take a twig of a plant. So we need to choose, generally we can choose a rose plant or a champa. Champa means sampige anta heltivala, that plant twig. Or I have taken a twig of a beetle vine. Beetle vine andre vilad ele anta heltivalva adu. So ele adikige ಬಳಸುವಂತ ಎಲೆ ಏನಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದು. So ಆ ಬಳ್ಳಿಯನ್ನ ನಾನು ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. So you need to take a twig of a plant such that it should have a node. Okay, so this piece of plant which we have taken from the plant is called as cutting. So this piece, this twig, whatever we have taken for vegetative propagation, so this piece of plant we call it as a cutting. So when you see this cutting, it should have a nodes. So what do you mean by a node? A node is a part of a plant where a new leaves are arise. So this is, from here you can see the arising of leaves here, right? So this part here, this part of a plant we call as a node. So see to that your cutting should have a node, and we need to bury this cutting inside the soil and we need to water this cutting frequently. And let us see after how many days we can see the development of roots from this cutting. So we need to have a node. So like this, even we can take a money plant. You can take and you can place it in a water and just to see after how many days the development of roots can be arised from the cutting of a money plant. This is the activity, so by which we can understand that, so this is a cutting. This here we don't have any seeds or a flowers, even though we can see the development of new plant from this piece of cutting. Okay, so this method of reproduction in plants we call as vegetative propagation. Even there are many such varieties. So you might have seen buds, right? So generally you might have seen a buds where a bud will generally turn up into a flower, and from the flower we can see the production of seeds and the seeds are used for the production of new plants, right? Even there are some other buds in the plants which are present in the axial. Here at the junction of the leaves you can see the presence of a bud. A bud is a small stem which is immature overlappings of leaves. Okay, so even from that buds also we can see the growth of the new plants. So you might have seen the potato, right? So where you can see the eyes. So what do you mean by eyes? So this is the potato, right? So if you see here clearly you can see the dot like structure. So I will just mark it out. So here, okay, I have marked, you can see clearly. So those are the spots where you can see the development of eyes. So these spots whatever I have drawn, those are called eyes. So these eyes, what they will do, you know, so when they get a favorable condition like moist humid condition, then you can see the development of these structures. So these are called as buds. So if you see these buds clearly, these are just look like a small leaves which are overlapping on one another. So these are called the buds. How we can do vegetative propagation with potato, you know. So you can see the formation of these buds, right? So take this piece and place it in the soil and water it in a frequent intervals, and you can see these buds will turn up into a new plants, and you can see the formation of roots from these piece of potato. Okay, so by this we can see the development of new potato plants from this piece of potato. This is a ginger, right? So ginger you can see here, if you keep this ginger in a soil, you can see the formation of buds, and these buds will develop into a shoot, and this shoot will develop into a new plant. There is one more plant which is called as Bryophylum, where you can see so this is the leaf of a Bryophylum, where this is called a sprout leaf plant. So this is called sprout leaf plant. Why? Because see at the margins of these plant there will be a leaf buds. So these are called as leaf bud. So this is the leaf of a Bryophyllum plant, where you can see at the margins you can see the buds formation. So these buds are called as leaf buds. When these leaves are going to fall on a moisty soil, you can see the development of new plants from this bud. So each bud will turn up into a new plant. Okay, so this is also one such example which comes under the vegetative propagation. Plants, if you see, the roots will also turn up into a new plant. Okay, so where you can see that the example of sweet potato. So when you place the sweet potato in soil, you can see this sweet potato will produce a new plant. Not only that, dahlia. So where dahlia, it is a flower which is generally used for decorative purpose. So it's generally been grown by using the roots. So there are different plants in which we can see the development of plants from roots, shoot. Okay, where you have seen the Bryophyllum, it is obtained from the leaf, right? So rose plant, it is obtained from the stem. Then money plant, it is also obtained from the stem. Potato, it is also obtained from the stem itself. Ginger, it is also a stem. Bryophyllum, it is obtained from the leaf. And even sugarcane, it is also obtained from the stem. Then even you can see the plants such as cactus plant. So when you see the cactus plant means, see here it will be like this. So where the entire plant will have spines over it. So when the part of a plant it is dispatching from the main plant, each part will turn up into a new plant. So like this, there are different plants which we can see the vegetative propagation. So do we have any advantages when we go with a vegetative propagation? Yes students, there are many advantages by using a vegetative propagation. Advantages of the vegetative propagation. So when you see here, the plants which are obtained as a result of vegetative propagations are similar to their parents. Whenever a plant has a special trait means character. So for example, I have a black rose in my garden. So when you wanted the same type and the same size and color of that black rose even in your garden, what you can do, you can collect a cutting from my rose plant and you can place it in your garden. So when you place that, you can also obtain the same plant which I have in my garden. So that means by the process of vegetative propagation, we can get the plant which is exactly similar to the parent type. As this method involves only single parent, so we can get a pure characteristics from the plant. Plants which are obtained through vegetative propagation will mature fastly, so that you can get yield very fastly than the plants which are obtained from the sexual reproduction. That means the plants which you have sowed the seeds and the seed will develop into a plant, no? So such type of plants will show a late maturation time than the plants which are obtained from the vegetative propagation, so that you can get very fastly your fruits and flowers from your garden plants that are obtained from the vegetative propagation. Okay, so you have understood, right? So the main three advantages of the vegetative propagation. This is about the vegetative propagation in asexual reproduction. Let us learn other modes of sexual reproduction in the